Hey guys, it's Bia here, and today we're back with another video. So, we are on week 7 now, and this is my dusty mirror. But yeah, this is my outfit for today. Very cozy, very cute. I like the gold accent, and yes. So, to start, today we're going to be talking about leadership and management strategies. Now, I know you may think this is not as important, but it's also a key to making your business work. The way you manage people and manage everything within the business is very, very important, as it will affect how successful your business is. Because if you don't lead people well, or if you don't manage either resources or people properly, then you will not be able to succeed and move forward in your business. This is, by the way, how the streets look like when I go to uni. Very cute, very traditional looking. And this time I had some sushi, so I didn't really have much time to kind of record, and I didn't even remember it either. So yeah, and that's my friend, by the way, guys. I was showing how many black layers I have, and then I have the white one underneath to match my hat. So let's get started with the actual lecture. The first things that we need to kind of touch base on is the questions that you need to ask yourself and what you need to write down, just so we can kind of keep track of what we've been doing this whole time. Now, we might have already developed your idea, how you're going to market it, how you're going to kind of develop it so it can meet people's needs and so on. But now we need to start asking a few more questions. So number 1 is going to be write down 1 to 2 reasons for market success. Now, what I mean by that is, why is your idea going to work? So you need to write down 2 things. Wherever you're taking notes from this video, write down why so far from your research and what you've been doing is your business idea going to work. And it's very important to take every step that I'm kind of suggesting, just so that you can keep track of your thoughts as well. It's very important to write things down. So that is going to be the first thing. The second thing that you need to ask yourself is writing down 2 reasons for potential failure. So why might your idea not work? So from your research, is there anything that you found which kind of made you aware that, oh my God, my business might not work because of XYZ? So is there a lack of resources? Is it difficult for you to get a material that you might need? Is it hard for you to kind of start in that market because it's very full and busy and very crowded? So that's some things that you might need to write down for potential failure, because later on we're going to talk about how we can kind of plan ahead and avoid failing by knowing what our weaknesses are. So the last thing that you need to think about is writing down 1 to 2 comments of what you've been doing well and what you have not been doing well. So if you've been giving yourself goals and things that you have to do, have you been reaching your goals? Is there something that you're slacking on that you need to kind of keep track of? So basically, this is just so we can kind of keep track of everything that we're doing so far. And something very important is that leaders and managers need to be open-minded. They need to listen, be flexible, and they need to be able to respond quickly when they get feedback from people. So either from customers or from the actual people working under them. The reason being is that sometimes we think we're amazing and we're the best, but other people might also have other ideas that we might not have thought of, and they might actually be good, and they actually might benefit the business in some way. So you need to be able to kind of adapt and develop everything to other people as well, and to what you've been doing. So the next thing that we need to talk about is what's going to make your idea successful. So first thing is, your idea must be right for the market. Second thing, your idea must hit the market at the right time. And third, you need to be the right person for the job. So right idea for the market would be, for example, if you're targeting a specific market, let's say for mothers, you need to be thinking about their needs and their wants and so on. So if you're going to put a completely random idea, trying to give it to a market without doing any research, that's going to fail. If it's the wrong time, so sometimes there's actually products that are so ahead that they actually end up failing, but then down the road 10 years later they would actually work out because people are more prone to those ideas. So before you actually put out your product and start producing in large scale and lose lots of money if it fails, do some tests. Take your prototype out to people, get them to interact with it and to give you real feedback. Don't just ask your mom or your friend, because they're not going to be 100% honest. And last thing, you need to be the right person. You need to be very extremely motivated. Keep going even when you have no money. Keep going even when times are tough, because in the beginning it's going to be very, very difficult. We are not going to be making millions from the beginning. So next thing we're going to talk about is Elon Musk's 6 secrets to business success. So the 6 things that he said is: 1, business isn't about money. Like the business that you're creating has to be not just about money, about something that you're passionate about. Again, second thing, you need to pursue your passion. Third thing, don't be afraid to think big. So don't just think, oh, I can make this very small brand, for example, and I'll keep it to this area. No, always think, oh, how am I going to expand it in the future? And also, don't be scared of thinking that you can be the best. Fourth, be ready to take risks. And fifth, ignore the critics. No, don't ignore them completely, where you're just blinded by your hopes and dreams, but also don't let them put you down. And sixth is to enjoy yourself, although things will get difficult, but if you're doing something you love, you should be enjoying it somehow. So there's 2 differences between leadership and management that we also need to discuss. Leadership, in my opinion, is more like a macro thing, whereas management is a micro thing. So leadership is more at the top, kind of overseeing everyone in the business, whereas management is more like direct to the employees and managing them, managing their time, managing their schedules, for example. If there's any sort of problems, they will be the first ones to be contacted, and then the managers will kind of contact the people above them, which would be the leaders, in my opinion. So leadership creates the strategy and culture in the business, as well as systems for the organization. So they create everything that everyone else follows. And management, they ensure that the strategy and culture and systems and people and technology and everything works concisely and continuously. So you can't have one without the other, but obviously so they have to have slightly different skills to be able to ensure they do their job properly. So I would say leadership is more like a visionary. They set the direction, they create the mission, they inspire everyone, and they will evaluate strategies and make sure that we're doing the right thing. And then they're always thinking about long-term goals. However, management are usually thinking about productivity. How can they max out their resources, for example? How can they solve problems? How can they deliver on the mission that is created by the leadership? And how can they organize their team, for example? If you've had any part-time job, guys, you would realize that a manager actually has to deal with a lot, and they have a very difficult job, because there's always people with complaints. There's people that don't come to work. There's people they have to hire, people that they have to fire. There is people that go on a leave, and people that get sick. And when there's all these fluctuations, they need to be able to deal with all these changing factors every single day. Whereas leadership don't really have to look into this as much. They look at it from like an overhead perspective. So that is kind of the differences with management. Right, so next thing. So strategy and culture is what we're going to be talking about next. So if you have any questions, stop this video now, write a comment about what you want to do, and if there's anything you have questions about, and then go back and continue watching the rest of the video. Also, if there's any notes that you want to take down, you can repeat, go back and watch a few of the things that I've been talking about. Right, next thing we're going to be doing is the 12 reasons why culture may eat into strategy. Now, what it means is culture is like the way people are used to behaving in a business, whereas strategy is more like the rules and everything you have to follow. Now, I'm not sure if I ever told you guys, but I used to work at IKEA, and the culture there is like very friendly. Everyone kind of talks to everybody, and it was very relaxed. So this culture of being relaxed ended up making a lot of people very lazy, and then when rules trying to put in rules to kind of make everyone work a bit better. It was very difficult because they were used to not doing as much work. So that's where you can kind of see the culture of the people and the way they kind of interact with each other. And then how the strategy is very difficult to implement when there is a very strong culture within the workers of the place. So it's very hard to get people away from their habits and to get them to be more disciplined than they are. And that's what this is talking about. So again, it says people are generally loyal to culture. Culture provides resilience on tough times. So if, for example, in IKEA, there's also a very, very big thing on teamwork and everyone working together. So that is a culture that's been created by the business from the very beginning. It's one of their core values, and it's one of the things that they kind of really push on, even when they're doing interviews. That's such an important thing for them. They're like, teamwork is at the core of the business. So that is a piece of culture that is obviously helping the business move forward, because everyone is relying on everyone else. What else do we need to talk about? So culture always ends up winning over strategy. Again, people like to go always back to old ways, and even when people try to implement new things, it's very difficult to kind of keep going. The only way I would say to kind of implement a new strategy is to kind of get rid of all the current workers and put brand new ones in. And that's the only way to kind of break away from the old culture and trying to build a new one, because it's very hard to rebuild a new way of thinking and working when everyone wants to do the same thing, same old thing. Yeah. So strategies can also be copied by other businesses whereas culture is very difficult to kind of mimic. It kind of happens naturally within the business. And also, culture provides a higher level of risk prevention. So what they mean by that is that when people are used to a certain culture and they get taught that from the beginning, it's easier to prevent things going wrong. So if, for example, people are taught how to do something from the beginning and then they get used to doing it from the beginning and they do it well, then it's very difficult to kind of go wrong where everyone is following the same right thing. But yeah, I don't know if that made any sense, but that's kind of what it is. The next thing we're going to be talking about is Mr. Porter, that we've been talking about from before. He's a very popular guy within this whole business world, and even when I used to study business A-levels, there's quite a lot of different models. He wrote a book back in, I believe, 1980 something, or maybe even before that. And in the book that he wrote, he created all these different strategies and ways of thinking, and that's why a lot of business lectures tend to use his theories and tables and so on. So if you guys want, I'll leave a link to his book in the description and you guys can have a read. So he created a model which follows his argument that being different is the best strategy for a business. So on the left side, you can see broad and narrow, and then you can see at the bottom cost and differentiation. So if you want to be different, these are 4 different ways in which you can be different. So you can be broad and you can have differentiation. So what that means is, for example, having a lot of different products that you're providing. Or if you, for example, are a small business and you want to be different, I would say it's differentiation cost, where you're actually trying to be different, but you're not going to create lots of different products. You're trying to reach a new niche market. So that's kind of the way of thinking about it as well. So he argued that his strategy is an assumption of a competitive position about differing yourself in the eyes of the consumer. So, for example, you're adding value in a different way. If I were to be selling, I don't know, leggings, for example, and now I wanted to target ballerinas as my new customer, I would go on cost differentiation, because there's not many people out there which are ballerinas. and I'm going to make some leggings that might be specifically made to warm them up when they're doing their exercises before they start dancing. Let's just say it's something like that. So that's a way of me creating value, because I'm really focusing on their needs, but I'm being different from all the other competitors which make leggings. But I'm not going to spend a lot of money doing that, because I'm not going to create lots and lots of different products. So that is the kind of thing that it's essentially talking about. Now, the last thing which I want to mention is the main challenge that any business has when they are planning and creating and trying to develop something from nothing. So the main issues that most businesses have is, one is to build trust, ownership, and entrepreneurship. So what I mean by that is, one, it's hard as a newcomer, as a new starter, to build trust, for example, with consumers, with suppliers, with literally anyone, because you haven't done this before. Entrepreneurship, if you haven't done it before as well, is very difficult to kind of get yourself to motivate yourself unless you're already naturally very extremely motivated, and even then things get tough, and sometimes not everyone can handle going through that without any support. Another challenge is you need to put the shopper and the consumer at the heart of your strategy. So if you're trying to allocate your resources in the best way possible, you need to really be thinking of how can you make your products, make your services better and more relevant to the shopper and consumer, because the way to make money is to actually meet their needs and help them out. You make money by helping people out. Next thing is you need to stay agile. You need to make use of all your data, and your decision making needs to be very quick as well. You can't take forever to be making decisions. So when you're faced with a new problem, you really need to act fast. Next thing is, when things are not working well, you need to rethink your organizational model. So maybe if you have too many managers, you need to do something which actually removes some layers of management, which does happen sometimes, and there's a specific name for it, I just can't remember at the moment. It's either called restructuring or I can't remember, but there's a word. If you guys know, leave a comment down below. And also, any knowledge that you have, please leverage it. If you know how to make YouTube videos to advertise your stuff, do it. If you're really good with Facebook marketing, or you have a friend which is a photographer and you want to use, just ask them to take some pictures for you. Even for the beginning is better than nothing. Paying photographers is very expensive. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the description. If you want to know how to get more resources and what you can do, you can also ask me. I have done a lot of different things in the past, on finding models, on finding photographers. There's a lot of hacks to doing that. For example, if you want to do a photo shoot, if you're living in the UK, there's quite a lot of different ways of sourcing money with competitions. If you're young especially, there's a lot of ways you can get money. And if you need any help with kind of getting ideas for how to start your business, also send me a message, and I will do another video on the first few steps that you need to take to start, because that I've actually been doing that, but I have not shared my business yet with anyone, simply because I want to develop it fully and actually start trading before I show it to anyone. I want to make sure that I kind of equipped enough to really show you guys my journey from the beginning to end. No, not to end, because there won't be an end until I die, really. But showing you that journey, I want to make sure I do it properly when I have the full thing and full proven way that everything works completely. So yeah, all of the knowledge which I'm giving you now is partially experience and partially from my uni lectures, as you know, and I'm allowing you guys to follow with me through and learn with as I am learning as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like, share, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!